Hey everyone, welcome back to Sean's Trains. Today I've got a model railroading update for you since I don't have a layout. I've had a lot of exciting stuff coming in. I mean, tons of pre-orders. It's just like they all came washing ashore at once. It's really exciting, but I also have some stuff I picked up that I had worked on from Engine House Services, so I'm going to show you some of that. I got a model back from my friend Sean McGrath of McGrath Models, who weathered up my Scale Trains Museum Quality SDL39 and Wisconsin Central paint. I'm really excited to show that to you guys because it just looks beautiful. He's an amazing modeler. He does amazing work on weathering. I'm really excited to show you guys that. But aside from that, I've got a couple of reviews I got to put together. Those will be out later today. And it is currently about 5:30 in the morning on Saturday, October 28th. I'm going to go down to the Chicago RPM show. I'm going to go check out Southern Tier Grain Belt Models. And I hope I'm saying that right. But I'm really excited to see some of the stuff they have. If you follow me on Facebook, on Sean's Trains, the group that you can join, you can post, you can talk, you can hang out, share news and information, share a little bit about yourself and your models. But there's some info on there. They've got some really cool stuff coming out. I can't wait to see. I hope to have an interview with them today. So without further ado, let's do a model railroading review. So the first thing I'm going to do, we're going to unbox this SDL39 here from Scale Trains. And I love these engines. I'm so glad they did them. If you don't already know, Scale Trains and I don't necessarily get along. So I'd initially ordered a whole bunch of these and then canceled it at the hobby shop because there's so many issues, and that went around on social media. And I ended up having a conversation with some people, and some people don't like me for it. But at the end of the day, you know what? I'm a YouTuber. I'm going to tell you what's going on with this stuff. Because if I'm having these issues, there's a fair chance some of you are going to have these issues too. So it's not fair for me to like hold back the dirt and the stuff that's going wrong with this stuff and not share it with you guys. So if you recall when these came out, there were some problems with the pilots with things being bent, and Scale Trains did a good job of getting a fix and getting it out to people. I've talked to Shane about it. There is some solutions made, and I ended up not going forward with it because of some other issues I had. So, Shane, I appreciate you reaching out to me. I appreciate the help and everything. But I lost a lot of faith in Scale Trains when this happened. Some of it's been restored. It is what it is. So I've gotten more and more into Athearn lately. Not because of that. It's just Athearn's had more of what I want. And then Rapido's probably going to be next now that they have the SD10s. And if I did my job correctly, you can see a picture of that down here in the corner. So let's get this guy out of the box and take a look. Sean did an amazing job. I'm always paranoid about getting fingerprints on these guys. An amazing job with this locomotive here. Let's get this thing out of here. You can never be too careful with these guys. There's a lot of details, a lot of things that break and go wrong. Well, let's get in and take a closer look. So for this one, I'm just going to hold the camera because doing it with the tripod on this little thing is kind of a pain. And I can show you guys a lot better, and you can see a lot better the details on this. So it's just such a beautiful model. I mean, it's so beautifully weathered. I can hold it a little bit more still for you. Sean did a really amazing job with this. He did I think he did a combination of oils and powders and stuff, but just an amazing job, just amazing. I mean, and he had a beautiful palette to start with. This locomotive is just gorgeous. I mean, Scale Trains really knocked these out as far as the detail goes. They run beautifully. I haven't had any issues myself with them running. I had one engine that sparked a couple of times on a couple switches, but I don't know. I don't know what else can be done for that. It wasn't a consistent issue, so I'm not too worried about it. But this thing is just beautiful. He did an amazing job, and I am ever so thankful. Sean's absolutely one of my best friends. If my 5 was still a thing, he'd be in that for sure. But Sean he does an amazing job. That's Sean McGrath from McGrath Models. He builds GP20s and SD10s. And I'm really looking forward to getting my GP20s and ST10s finished and then putting those up to next to Rapido, because he did an amazing job detailing those, and I can't wait to see them. So that's that, and let's get into the next thing. All right, so these are the the car in front is the latest from Intermountain. Sorry for bumping the camera there, but the first car in front with the orange door and the green hatches on the roof, I'm really excited for. This just came out from Intermountain. I picked this up at Engine House Services yesterday while I was up with Dave from Superior Scenics. We got to hang out with the new owner and some of the guys there. Don, love it. You guys are the best. Um, I excuse me. It's allergy season, and I'm totally neglecting the allergy medicine. So I picked up this guy here, but the guy in the back, I actually traded some stuff for from my friend John. But what's kind of neat is the differences in the box cars. So if we turn this guy around, first you can see the difference in color a little bit there. What you're seeing on the camera is actually a pretty good representation of the difference. So this one seems a little glossier, and it's a little bit darker color. Um, but overall, the details are about the same. Obviously, the green car has a few more details to it, um, but they're both beautiful, beautiful cars. Intermountain did a really good job with these. This one is a used model. This is from a hobby shop that cleared out or something. I don't remember. But you can hear the weight moving around in there. So it is what it is. But this one is brand new. You can see the side hatches, I believe those are. Um, but what's really nice is Intermountain. I feel like John feels the same way. We've had enough conversations about this. Intermountain hasn't gone up in price as much as other brands have. They've maintained everything pretty well, I think, as far as their prices. In the $35 range for freight cars. Some of them a little bit more now. For the more detailed stuff, especially the auto racks. But for the stuff that they've had the tooling for, I feel like they haven't gone up in proportion to what other manufacturers have. And their details have always been pretty solid. I've always been really happy with Intermountain freight cars. The one nitpick I'll have is on their two bays that the coupler pockets don't unscrew, so you need to break them apart if you want to put semi-scales in. But overall, I just wanted to say that they did an amazing job with these. I'm super happy with them. I was really happy that Engine House still had one of these guys around, and I was able to pick it up. But it is an amazing car. I really look forward to operating them. One thing I will notice, it is pretty bouncy. Or tippy, I guess. It's just kind of strange. Um, I know we don't think of box cars as wobbly like that one. This one really wobbles. That one's pretty sturdy. I don't know what that is. I don't know why. I'm sure I'll figure it out. But I'm happy with it. If you want to get some of these, grab them now. I got a feeling they're going pretty quick. And pretty soon you'll be able to see them on the Superior Scenics layout, maybe coming up in another more in-depth review, or just running around on one of my trains. I just want to talk about these guys for a minute here. There's some cool stuff going on with the two cars in the foreground, the CSX and the family lines. I caught some pictures recently out in, I believe, Footville, Wisconsin, on the Wisconsin Southern, now currently owned by Waco. And I captured some of these cars that were pretty well weathered and patched out and well used on the line, and I thought they were just too cool to pass up. So I'm going to have a friend of mine, Adam Bunkelman, the current president of the Kettle Moraine Ballast Scorchers. I've asked him if he'd be interested in weathering and doing these up like he did a couple cars for me before. I'll drop some pictures here for those. Because it's too cool. It's too cool not to have a piece of that on my layout. I can go rail fan it. I see it at several locations. I'm going to try to photograph him a little bit more when I see him again. But it's just such a cool opportunity to see something like that. And I love these cars so much. And then on the back side here, as you can probably see, I've got this Illinois Central Gulf hopper. A really sharp paint scheme. Walters really knocked these out with the Walters Mainline. I had these pre-ordered. I think they're about $30 a pop, on sale, of course. You probably find them online for a little bit less, or at your local hobby shop, depending on what kind of deals they have going on. But Walters really does an amazing job with their Walters Mainline brand, and I'm so proud to have these and their well cars and their cylindrical hoppers, the Canadian hoppers. They did a knockout job of those. So I'm going to have some pictures up here for you guys to check out these cars in real life. Not necessarily the ICG. I have seen them. I just haven't photographed them. And with that, we've got 2 locomotives to unbox for some custom work that was done, and we'll get to that here in a second. So this is my RS3. This is a Bowser with Loc Sound, factory Loc Sound, and I really loved switching with this engine. The only issue I had was if you had any kind of power loss, if it was a dirty track, a dirty wheel, or any combination of, you were dead in the water. And it was really kind of annoying because this thing ran beautifully. It really did. So one of the things I wanted to fix about that was putting a keep alive. So I decided a few months ago to take this up to Engine House Services with another locomotive we'll look at shortly and get a keep alive installed. After we did that, I decided to get some weathering done because this locomotive deserves a good weathering job. I thought it would really stand out. And so I sent them some links to some pictures from railpictures.net. So for anyone who contributes to that, thank you. I mean, thank you. Sincerely, honestly, thank you. Because without people sharing photographs of catching these locomotives over the years, modelers like me, whether you're doing the weathering or someone else's, we wouldn't know what this stuff looked like. I mean, we wouldn't know how the weathering would get done if there was significant damage on one side. And to people like me and you, that can make a world of difference. So I just want to do a little walk around of this guy because they did an amazing job with this. And it's just such a beautiful model. One thing I did notice, and I don't remember if this was like this before, but this guy's bent back a little bit. No worries. I probably just never noticed it. Stuff like that happens. These are miniatures. These really are miniatures, and stuff's going to happen when you use them. But you can see they got rust in some really nice spots down here, like on the springs. They went off the prototype pictures. I'd say they did a pretty good job of getting it very close. I'm very happy with the work. Um, I want to say it's like $75 an hour for weathering. So you can do like a light, a medium, a heavy, custom weathering, prototype weathering, whatever it is, but it's by the hour. In my mind, it's totally worth it. It can totally change the look of a locomotive or a railroad. But I feel like if you have much weathered rolling stock or locomotives, you probably want to weather your track. And with micro layouts and the details coming out from different manufacturers, especially with 3D printing these days, you can get a lot of stuff from like Scotty's Model Shop mini prints. There's more and more coming out. In fact, I'm hoping to see some more today. But at Engine House Services, at their brick and mortar store, they have tons of detail parts for your layout, for your models, and it really makes a difference in the model railroad. And I'm really looking forward to building my 4x8 in my apartment because that will give me an opportunity, one, to run this stuff, two, to start getting into the nitty gritty of doing the details. So when I do a bigger, larger, better layout someday, I'll be ready for it. So here's the other locomotive I had done. This again was at Engine House Services. This is the latest Proto 2000 SD45. I picked this up from Tag Trains along with a pair of Milwaukee Road SD45s. I'm really happy with this. These WC locomotives just have such beautiful color to them, and when you get them weathered, it just pops nice. So I'm really happy with it. On top of that, we've got the ditch lights here. They're kind of close together, and I believe these flash kind of quick. WC had faster working ditch lights for some reason on some of the stuff that I've seen anyway. But I'm really happy with this. You can see some of the stains and weathering on the fuel tank. The trucks are nicely dusted. And it's not crazy heavy weathering. It's just a nice light layer. I will point out that some of the lines on the paint of the model are just a little bit soft. They're not as crisp as I usually would like to see it. Um, but you can see around the model, they did a wonderful job of just getting this nicely weathered. So the I've got the SDL39, which obviously you saw, and I've got an SDP45 that has been weathered up, and that was done by John Hill of Milepost 70 Customs. I'm still waiting for some other stuff back from him, but the WC stuff, really, I don't know why. It really strikes home for me, even though I'm a big Milwaukee Road modeler and I'm getting into other stuff a little bit. But WC, I'm living in Waukesha, right on their former main line. I wish I could see this stuff today. I mean, I never really got to see it growing up. Didn't do a whole lot of rail fanning until I was much older, past my teen years. But WC, man, they had some cool stuff. All those big F45s and whatnot, all that big road power. I would have loved to have seen that in action. So I've got 5 or 6 somewhere in there F45s to get weathered up. Those are all Athearn Genesis with factory Tsunami sound. So I'm not sure if I want to set all of them up to run the same with different sound decoders, or if I want them all to get switched to Loc sound or keep them separated. But that's something I'll have to decide in the future. But I'm really looking forward to getting this on the rails at Superior Scenics because this baby is going to be a workhorse. I want to give a shout out to the Milwaukee Road Historical Society and specifically to a gentleman by the name of Bob Storozuk. Bob, if I just butchered your last name, I'm really sorry. But if there is ever a reason to join a historical society, it's this reason alone: access to information. When I was living out in Janesville for a little bit, and I was getting really nerdy about the area, and I was looking for ideas for building a small layout when I moved here. Now, for those of you who may already be familiar with Jayville Terminal or Janesville Terminal, it's owned by Wisconsin. It's owned and operated by Wisconsin Southern or Watco. Now, I was asking for information on more industries in the area for creating a small shelf layout. And while I may have moved away from that a little bit, I still wanted inspiration for my future layout as a larger portion overall. So I emailed the Historical Society, and I've got this article clipping here from Bob for Janesville Yard in 1954. Now, obviously, things have changed since then, but this would be a great opportunity and a great way for me to learn about the history of the area and the operations at the time, which you could apply to something later in the 60s and 70s, obviously, but would be probably unuseful today. I just wanted to share with you guys some of the stuff, some of the old clippings, like this is kind of cool, some of the old ads. But just, this is such an interesting thing. I mean, here's the yard right there. And then there's the track to Davis Junction. These tracks are still here. There's a couple more tracks here, but I think it's just 2 tracks going out now into one. And then there's the yard. So this is pretty neat. I'm really happy with this information. It is super helpful. And I'll read this article more in depth later, but you can see like the crane they've got the wheels here for doing repairs. There you've got a local, looks like a Pacific here, with a nice little combine. So that's really neat. And then here's a great picture, and they still use a turntable. Obviously, it's not this turntable anymore, and we don't have the coaling tower there. But what's really neat is I think this building might still be there in Johnsonville, in Janesville. So I'm really excited for this information. This is super helpful. Again, support the hobby, support the historical societies, because one day you're going to be looking for this information and you're going to wish you had it. So it's not a whole lot of money. They're super helpful. The magazines have awesome information, and they're worth holding on to. I mean, it's information that you might need later on when you expand your horizons in the hobby or change what you're modeling, or looking for information for a conversation you're having with a friend. This is just information like this, and the help that people in those historical societies give to people like you and me is just beyond phenomenal. It's so awesome, and I'd like to give the special shout out to the Milwaukee Road Historical Society for this information. So thank you, Bob. Thank you, Milwaukee Road Historical Society. You guys are awesome, and this hobby is all that much better because of you. So last couple of things I want to show you guys. You guys know what a big fan I am of Otter Valley Railroad. I love what they're doing up there. I love that they have their own stuff. I love the loads that they're making. I like that you can buy as a single load now, and now they've got the tarp loads, which is really neat. So I picked this up at Engine House Services. I had a budget in mind. I stuck to it, and I picked up a couple of things. And this is another local person. This is... Oh, of course, it got cut off here. But this is a little hay wagon. I'll put a link up here. But this is really neat. It's just a little kit you can buy to make a hay wagon. I'll probably do a video assembling this. It doesn't look like it'll take too terribly long. But I'm really excited. This is really cool. This is something that a lot of people can use, and at $7.50, it's an amazing deal. You can pick them up at Engine House Services. In fact, if you go follow them on Facebook, which I highly recommend, the social media has improved dramatically, and you can see all this stuff built up, and then the prices for that on there. I picked up another trash gun, so I've got a couple other loads that are a couple extra loads, so I'm hoping to get a couple more cars as time goes on, and I'd like to get is it the Candela car, the green one? I'm really looking forward to that, but I bought this guy and I bought an added load. These are stocked. They have a handful in stock at Engine House Services, so if you're looking to pick these up, you can pick it up for $52.50 plus tax. I highly recommend these cars. They're beautiful. I've never reviewed one, so maybe I'll finally do this one with the load. They're a ton of fun. They're really cool. They work really well. They look amazing. I think maybe the only gripe I have, and I've had this with other stuff, and Jen and I have talked about it in other videos, but the amount of detail that's coming on this stuff is starting to put them beyond operable models. I mean, if you're afraid of details breaking off or something, either put it on a shelf and stare at it, or be more careful, because these are just, I mean, these are artwork. These are miniatures. They aren't just models, they're miniatures. I mean, there's so much stuff here. The only difference between this and the real thing is the material, the scale, and functional air brakes. I mean, there's so much detail on these things. Well, I'm really happy to have it. I'll have this out on Dave's layout the next time I go out there to Superior Scenics to go run trains. And don't forget to check out Otter Valley Railroad on their website, or check them out at Engine House Services. All right, so this is my last segment for the model railroad update. So again, I don't have a layout, so I'm doing a model railroad update. As you can see, I'm not in my basement. So I moved out of the house. I'm single again. But what I'm really excited for is when I was looking for apartments, it was kind of hard to find something. The market's just kind of tight right now. What was really cool is I've actually found an apartment with, it was listed as a 2-bedroom, but when I came in here, it was a 1-bedroom with a train room, which I thought was really interesting. So I had to have it naturally. Thankfully, there's enough room in here that I think it's about a 10 by 12. I can put a 4 by 8 with a little section coming off of it. You know, something might fit a Black River Junction, something like that. I've had a few different ideas for shelf layouts and for doing a small railroad, but I got to have something to work on. And I think a 4 by 8 with a little addition to it would be perfect. I can focus on that. I can get the details in there. I'm really excited for all the stuff coming from Iowa Scaled Engineering and Greenbelt Models. I'd really like to find a way to incorporate those onto the layout. I really want to focus on doing details in the scenery, so getting back to my mini print subscription, which I canceled earlier this year, I wasn't using it. I wasn't getting to any of that. And now that I finally have some time to do it, I'd really like to get back into getting into the details and maybe doing some weathering, some modeling. Like, what a crazy thought that is, right? So I'm really excited about it. I want to get some new lighting for doing better videos and everything. I'm trying to get back into doing more videos now that I have a place to do it. It's quiet. It's pretty peaceful for the most part, especially at 5 o'clock in the morning, 6 o'clock in the morning, whatever it is now. And I'm actually getting ready to go down to the Chicago RPM show. I'm hoping maybe I can see some of you guys there. But otherwise, I hope you all have a great weekend. I hope you have some happy modeling. Don't forget to spend some time with friends and just have fun. That's the biggest thing. That's what we're trying to do with this hobby. That's why I like to do this. I think this is fun. I get to share what I'm learning and what I'm doing with you guys. You get to share it with me on Sean's Trains on Facebook, where you can post, comment, like, interact with me and other modelers that, are interested in that kind of stuff, and see some of the cool news and posts that people share. So with that said, I'm going to let you guys go. Have a great weekend, and thanks for watching Sean's Trains. And a special thanks to Superior Scenics, Tag Trains, and Engine House Services for helping make this an awesome weekend. I've had a ton of pre-orders come in. I've got a couple of locomotive reviews coming out. It's been a lot of fun, and it's been a crazy fall. I can't wait for this winter. We'll see you in the next video.